It is Tuesday, which of course means it is time for me to answer the questions that you guys send in every single week on the BrendenPlayz.com forums or in the YouTube comment section down below. Not a huge week in terms of wrestling. We did come off the week off of Monday Night Raw, and we're coming into, I guess you could say this is really the aftermath of the Royal Rumble. Probably some things that they had planned for Raw they did this week, like Triple H's big announcement. So there wasn't a hell of a lot that happened this week, so there's some things we need to cover. I mean, there's a lot of discussion, and we're starting to move on towards Fastlane and what's going on there. So we'll talk more about Fastlane and a bit more about Wrestlemania later on. So without further ado, let's get into today's questions. The first question is from the End of Fusion 16. Do you think that Daniel Bryan vs Roman Reigns is a way to set up a triple threat match at Wrestlemania? Well, I don't know, man. I think I'm a little confused why it's Reigns versus Bryan, because that way you have two baby faces going at it. The way I see it is this is the WWE's way of showing all the fans that Roman Reigns is better than Daniel Bryan by having Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan have a match one-on-one to determine who faces Lesnar, with Roman Reigns beating Bryan clean. The rumor is that it's going to be Bryan and Ziggler at WrestleMania, so if the rumors are true, Bryan will obviously not win. And I still think, you know, the plan is Reigns versus Lesnar. I don't think they're going to move away from that plan, especially after a really cool confrontation last week with Heyman, Lesnar, and Reigns. I really enjoyed that and kind of set it up for me to be something, okay, yeah, this seems pretty cool, something I can buy into, whereas Daniel Bryan, you know, I got a bit of flack last week for the things I said last week, but I'm not going to really go on about it any more than I have to, but I still feel as though Daniel Bryan will have a big part to play at WrestleMania, but a triple threat match I don't think is necessary, and we had one last year. I think it'd be a little bit silly to go for it and try a triple threat 2 years in a row. I think they'll be fine with Lesnar and Reigns. I think it'll be good enough. Hey, look, if the storyline's good enough, it'll be fine, and I think the fans will start to get behind Roman Reigns again pretty soon. I think they already are, to be honest, already. So it won't take long for Reigns to be back where he was, and hopefully the Daniel Bryan fans will be happy with, well, him waiting another year. I mean, Daniel Bryan, he'll get another opportunity. He'll get another championship run. I just think it's time to have someone else have their WrestleMania moment, I suppose. And a triple threat match isn't really necessary, and hopefully they just stick to what they're doing. But Fastlane, Reigns and Bryan sounds pretty good to me. I would have personally went for Rollins and Reigns, but maybe they're saving it for something bigger in the future. So if that's the plan, if that's the reason, then okay, I can live with that. But I think Bryan and Reigns that'll be very interesting, because you think about it, Bryan obviously going to get cheered a hell of a lot more than Reigns, so is that going to really hurt Reigns? Are we going to see a heel turn of some sorts? I don't know. So it's a risky, bold move by the WWE, but I guess Triple H, Stephanie McMahon are just giving the fans what they want. Daniel Bryan gets an opportunity to be the #1 contender. Look, they're just giving the fans what they want, so fair enough. The next question is from HBK for the win. Do you think John Cena will beat Rusev at Fastlane? Look, if Cena beats Rusev at Fastlane, that would be absolutely idiotic. I see it personally being a DQ win for Cena, or yeah, it'd have to be a DQ win. If they want to set up a match for WrestleMania between these two, probably having a match at Fastlane is not the way to go about it, because if they have a match at WrestleMania now, it probably won't be as big, but whatever. Look, if Rusev loses his streak at Fastlane of all places, I will be pretty pissed. And I think we all probably knew in the back of our minds that John Cena was probably going to be the guy to beat Rusev, probably going to be the guy to save USA, get that US title away from Rusev, whatever. You know, it is what it is. So for the US title, though, I don't know. That's very surprising. I'm not sure how I feel about that. We'll talk more about that later on in another question, but I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that. But Rusev and Cena, I think it's a good rivalry, and I think this could be a good way to elevate Rusev to near the top of the card. Because in my opinion, I feel as though Rusev, he's gaining a lot of steam, and he's done pretty well for himself in the past year. And I think if you think about it, probably the top 3 superstars in the past year, I think Rusev's got to be in that list because he's still undefeated. He's got the US title around his waist. He's getting some pretty good heat. And he's putting on some good performances as well. For a big man, I think he works pretty well. I honestly enjoy seeing him go in the ring. He can do some great maneuvers. You know, he's got the big kicks, and he's quite explosive at times too. So I think Rusev, I think he's pretty damn good. And Lana as well, it kind of completes the package. So I think Rusev taking on Cena at WrestleMania is a good call. Will he lose the streak? Probably yes. Should he lose it at Fastlane? Hell no. This one's from WWE234. Do you think Daniel Bryan will win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship thanks to the fans? Well, similar to last year's situation, I just touched on this briefly before. Should Daniel Bryan, I guess, be at WrestleMania or win the title because of the fans? Not at the moment, but I still think Daniel Bryan is going to have another title run. I think it'd be kind of idiotic to say Daniel Bryan's done, he's never going to have another championship reign again. The only thing that will cost Bryan another title reign is if the fans stop cheering for him or if he gets injured again. So honestly, I still feel as though Daniel Bryan, he's a main event guy. He's a main eventer for the rest of his career. I would be very surprised if he does move away from that status, but I think the only thing that really will stop that from happening is the WWE themselves. You know, will they want Daniel Bryan to be a main event guy? Well, clearly. I mean, a lot of people say, well, they never want to push him or anything like that. Well, he's come back. He had a big, you know, return before the Royal Rumble. They hyped it up, big deal. And now they're having him face their golden boy, Roman Reigns, at Fastlane for a #1 contendership match. So that to me, and also look what happened on Raw. He had Daniel Bryan, big closing segment on Raw, and he gets plenty of TV time. He gets it all. So people saying that, okay, Daniel Bryan's done, he's never going to get a title shot again. I think you really need to take a good hard look at how the WWE have used Daniel Bryan. Yes, they probably dragged out the whole underdog storyline for a long time, and they probably weren't going to go with Bryan in the end, but I guess as it turned out, it turned out the way that it needed to turn out for Bryan. So now that I feel as though they've got some experience with Bryan as their top guy, as the guy, I think they might be more inclined to give him another opportunity to do that again. So, I mean, you think about it. If Brock Lesnar loses the title, then who do you have? You have Reigns, Orton, Cena, Rollins, who's never had the title by the way, Bryan. So you take away Rollins, you really have 4 guys. Is it 4 guys? Yeah, you have just a handful of guys that can be the champion. So it's worrying. So because of that alone, Daniel Bryan will be fine. He's going to be in that category of guys that can get the title, that will have another title run, because the fact is there's nobody there to replace him. Ambrose is close, yes. I would even argue Rollins is... I think Rollins is there now. I think Rollins is getting very close. His performance at the Royal Rumble has won me over as a main event guy now. You have Bray Wyatt there. So some guys coming through, but they aren't just quite there yet. And you can argue Roman Reigns isn't quite there yet. But Daniel Bryan, he is there, and I think he's going to stay there. This next one's from Maddicon77. Sting vs Triple H is pretty much confirmed for WrestleMania. Who would you like to see win and why? Well, look, if they bring back Sting for WrestleMania, his first match ever in the WWE, and have him lose, what the fuck is the point? Honestly, why bother? Why would you bring back this legend for him to lose to Triple H? I can understand if it's a young guy, but it's Triple H. Does it need to happen? No, nobody wants to see Triple H win. Everybody wants to see Sting come back, have a good performance, have his first match, and win. It'd be a great fairy tale, a storyline, however you want to put it. It'd be just a great debut, great match to have, a big time match, WrestleMania against Triple H, who's, you know, he was around when Sting was around, so it's kind of fitting that Sting faces somebody that who was in his era. And I think that's what it needs to be. I think Sting needs to face somebody from that era, and somebody like The Undertaker, Triple H. You know, if he faces a Bray Wyatt, I don't know. I just would feel strange. I think he's got to be facing a name that, you know, he could have faced back in the Attitude Era, if you get what I mean. So, yeah. So I feel as though if Triple H beats him, what's the point of bringing him back? So I think Sting will beat Triple H. What I can see happening though is maybe if Taker can do it, one more match next year, WrestleMania 32, Sting versus Taker, and have the Undertaker beat Sting there. So that's the only way I really see Sting losing. Next one's from Bashka. What do you think of Ziggler versus Bryan at WrestleMania? Well, the big rumor is that Ziggler and Bryan will have a match. It probably will open WrestleMania 31. If that is the case, though, that's a really strong opening match. I mean, two guys that can go out there and just tear the house down. It's a great way to kick the show off. Hypes the crowd up. It's a big match. It'll be just an exciting match, a fun match for the crowd. And I think you kind of need that kind of match to kickstart WrestleMania. So I'm happy if they do go ahead with it. Somebody will probably have to turn heel. I would say it'll be Dolph Ziggler. I can't see them going face versus face. I wouldn't mind seeing them both stay babyface. I really don't want to see Dolph Ziggler turn heel again. I'm very happy with him being a babyface right now, and I'm still enjoying Dolph Ziggler as a babyface. So I'd keep him as a face, keep Bryan as a face, and just have these two guys who respect each other go out and just tear the house down at WrestleMania. Can't we see a storyline like that? Rather than, oh, we have to turn on each other, we hate each other. Yeah, I don't know. I just think these two guys just respect each other and just want to go out there and show who's the better man at WrestleMania. I mean, it's a good way to do it, in my opinion. So if it happens, I'll be pretty happy. I don't really want to see Bryan versus Sheamus, so a Ziggler and Bryan match is much preferred in my opinion. The next question is from SG Finest McMiner. Do you think Cena is turning into a possible US Championship contender? Look, I really don't know what's going on here. I mean, is Cena honestly going to win the United States Championship, a belt that... When was the last time he had the US title? 2004? I mean, Cena as US champion makes really no sense, but I guess if he has to have championship gold, if he has to be a champion, I mean, being a US champion might just do everybody a little bit of a favor. I mean, if you have Cena feuding for the US title, it makes the US title seem more important again. It makes a big name going after the US title. It helps Rusev out immensely. Cena winning the championship, though, against Rusev, I think would be a pretty bad idea. Look, I honestly see Cena and Rusev at WrestleMania, and I can see John Cena beating him, beating the streak. It really doesn't need to happen, though. Really, I mean, if Cena beats Rusev's streak, what does it do for anybody? It means Rusev's now defeated. He looks vulnerable, he looks weak. Cena overcame the odds, saved USA, but Cena's done that 1,000 times in his career. So, if you save it and let somebody else have it, it means a hell of a lot more, like a Dolph Ziggler gets it or something like that. A Ryback gets it. You know, it means a hell of a lot more to them, and that's something that they need more than what John Cena needs. So if Cena beats him at Fastlane or at WrestleMania, we're all just going to go, oh wow, Cena wins, lol, LOL. Nobody cares. It just means nothing. So it devalues Rusev's streak. I mean, it elevates him to the point where, okay, he's in a match against Cena. That's a pretty big deal. That's awesome. But him just losing to Cena, it's just like, ugh, you know, what's the point? What was that streak for? Just for Cena to get it? So hopefully Cena kind of sticks away from the US Championship. But hey, a match for Cena and Rusev for the US title, it means something for the US title. So it gives the title a bit more meaning, which is always good to see. And the final question for today's episode is from Bray Wyatt Run. I saw Bray Wyatt's promo. What's your thoughts? And I think it might be a push for him. And will it be about The Undertaker? Well, he's kind of, I guess, suggesting The Undertaker in some kind of ways. Honestly, Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker I think would be sweet. I think it's kind of two dark, gloomy characters. Bray Wyatt's really the only current roster guy other than Sting that I would have take on The Undertaker. I mean, it's got to be somebody like a Bray Wyatt now. It's got to, you know, we've seen Undertaker lose the streak, so it's now time to move on to these top guys. It's time to move on to, I suppose, these guys that kind of match up gimmick-wise. So I think Taker probably does even have one WrestleMania left in him. I don't know. Does he have two left in him? I doubt it. So I don't know if he'll be back. He might take the year off, come back for a big retirement run at 32 against Sting. Honestly, if that happens, I'd be quite okay. Or just, I would just love to see Sting and Undertaker, but Brain Taker would be pretty fun too, so I'm happy either way. Okay guys, that will do it for today's edition of Let's Talk Tuesdays. If you did enjoy it, please do smash that like button. Of course, hit the subscribe button while you're at it as well if you haven't already. Help me get some more subscribers, help the channel grow. If you want to leave a question for next week's episode, you have to do that by leaving a comment in the comment section down below, or post at the forums, BrendenPlayz.com/forums. Click the Let's Talk Tuesday link in the description down below. A lot of you guys are leaving me questions on Twitter and Facebook, and even on the PlayStation and things like that. Just keep it to the YouTube comment section, guys, and or the forums. That's the easiest place for me to look. I don't look anywhere else for questions, I'm sorry. So just keep it in the comment section or at the forums. The forums is probably preferable, but either one's good. Thanks guys for watching. That'll do it for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you all next Tuesday.